Hey, morning traders. Welcome to another session of Market Snapshot. This is Robert Mbogo, your markets educator. I hope you're excited because being on a Wednesday, we really have opportunities. But then again, every trader should make sure that they understand the three types of analysis that we have, right? We have the technical analysis, which is where most people focus on. There's the sentimental analysis, and there is the fundamental analysis, right? So a good trader is one who combines them, right? So if you really want to reduce your risk exposure, you really want to check out the economic calendar. You need to look at economic events that could have an impact on your position, right? So this is now, as you can see on my screen, I've just shared Forex Factory. We have my FX book. We have trading economics. All these are areas where you could check out news. There's also Market Screener. We also have FinVits, right? FinVits is also financial visualization, is also a website that you could look at to have more access on what's really happening in the markets. So all that is important for you to make sure that you're ahead, right? So like yesterday we saw the market close in blues, like positive for majority of the pairs, and we will see that impact later on the Nasdaq, right? So the tech companies performed really well. So Nasdaq, of course, also had that awesome bullish move, courtesy of the performance of the main stocks. So let's go back to Forex Factory. So being on a Wednesday, earlier today, so yesterday I had a conversation with the mentorship class, the 11 a.m. class, and I told them that today at 3:30 a.m. there will be some opportunities. It was based on the GDP, the gross domestic product, right? In Australia, it was being reported. So traders had expected that the forecast would be 0.7%. However, the number came out lower at 0.4%. What does that mean? It means that the Australian economy was not performing as anticipated, right? There was a drop in performance. So that led to the weakening of the Australian dollar. Remember, when the economy is doing so well, right, every investor wants to come into that country. They want to invest in that country, right? Because they'll get returns from the investments, right? There'll be a good return on investments. So these investors, when they come into that country, there is an increased demand for the Australian dollar in this case, right? So they have to exchange their currencies, maybe the Japanese yen, the US dollars into Australian dollar. So there's now a demand for the Australian dollar. So when there's a demand for something and the supply is almost constant, what happens? Prices go up. So that's where now the Australian dollar would have strengthened if the GDP would have come out stronger than 0.7%, 0.8, 0.9. But now because it came out lower at 0.4%, there's no demand. There's no demand for the Australian dollar. So what happens? The Australian dollar weakens, right? So that was it. There was also CPI on the Swiss franc at 10:30 a.m. We will see the impact of that, right? Came out negative against the projected number, right? So if it would have come out better, maybe 0.0 or 0.1 instead of negative, then what would have happened? The Swiss franc would have strengthened. However, in this case, what happened? The Swiss franc has weakened because the CPI came out negative, right? So we will see the impact of that on our charts. And that's why I keep insisting that a good trader needs to combine these two, right? So we will see a situation where due to this number, a pair like USDCHF became bullish, right? Because of the weakening of the Swiss franc CHF. So maybe if you look at a pair like CHF, JPY, there's a high chance that it was a sell, right? Because of that data. You see the impact of all these economic events. Now, At 4:15, we'll be having the ADP non-farm employment change. What is this, right? It's the estimated change in the number of employed people during the previous month, excluding non-farm, right? And excluding the farming industry and and government, right? So what's the forecast? This is what traders are saying. Traders and investors are saying it will be 5K. So any number higher than this, it's good for the dollar. 6K, 7K, 7K, 10K. You know, the higher the number, the more stronger the dollar will be. However, if this number comes out lower than 5K, 4K, 3K, right, it means the US economy has not created jobs as anticipated. So that can only happen in most cases in an economy that is not doing so well, right? So that will lead to the weakening of the USD. That's the interpretation of this data. Okay, let's look at the other data at 6 p.m. Remember, this is Kenyan time or GMT +3. I need to refresh this from 10:52 so that it can reflect the current time zone. You see 11:10 at the bottom right, you can see 11:10. So this is GMT +3. So at 6 p.m., we'll also be having the ISM services PMI. Basically, this is a survey done on purchasing managers, right? Excluding the manufacturing industry. So here you're talking about services industry, hospitals, lawyers, you know, pharmacists. So anything that is a service industry, this is where now you want to hear the outlook. So they are asked how the business environment is. Have they been employing guys? How is it? Are you if you're employing, that means business probably is doing so well. Production, like how productivity of your guys, are you bringing in new orders? Like if let's say you're selling whatever it is that you're selling, is there demand for that, right? Prices, have you hiked your prices maybe due to inflation? You know, you have to keep up with the inflation so that you're in business, you know, all that. So what's the impact of this? Ideally it needs to be 50 and above. So let's look at the forecast. The forecast, this is what traders or investors are saying. So the traders and investors are saying it will be 52.0. Any number higher than this, 52.4, 52.5, 53, is good for the dollar. It means that the purchasing managers have said, like, hey, we are very positive, we are very bullish that the economy is doing well. That's why we are hiring. That's why, like, there's demand for our products and all that, right? So that's a positive. However, anything lower than 52.0, like, you know, 51.5, 51.9, the lower the number 51 or even 50, the lower the number, the more the impact, the more the currency will be volatile. So number lower than this, negative for the US dollar. Okay, so with that understanding, let's check out, let's first have an outlook on the market on AUD and USDCHF to see how these news affected those positions, right? And also now anticipate that, hey, if these numbers come out as we've discussed, what will be the impact, right? For some traders, like swing traders, some of this news may not affect their positions. Maybe they have a stop loss of 100 pips, 150. But if you're a scalper, if you're a day trader, where majority of us fall under, then you really want to be on the lookout. You really want to make sure that you're looking at the fundamentals. Actually, if you look at even some of the swing trader, position traders, they trade based on fundamentals, long-term outlooks, right? And remember, next week we will be having the Fed meeting. Already guys are anticipating that there'll be a rate cut, 87% so far. 13% are still saying, oh, Powell will still maintain the current rates. So let's see how that plays out. Remember, these numbers will have an impact on that one, right? And also, this is NFP week, right? We need to know what really happened last month with regards to jobs, right? So let's now go to our MT5, having looked at the fundamentals. Now let's go to our MT5 and analyze the market. Okay, so this is an analysis I had done with the mentorship class. This was yesterday, the 11 to 12 p.m. class that is ongoing. So I had anticipated that USDCHF will hit this high before dropping. So it was held. Unfortunately, it didn't get there. Instead, price tested something called the Asian high, which is this level. And then you can see the reaction from the candles, rejection candles, and eventually there was a drop. So this right here is the impact of that CPI, negative CPI in Switzerland, right? The number came out lower than expected. Okay, so what was the impact? The Swiss franc weakened, and as a result, USD CHF has been bullish. Not so much, but 17 pips. But once again, if you're a scalper, if you're a trader, most probably that is your stop loss. So your stop loss has probably been hit, right? So this is why you should always make sure that you're looking at the economic calendar. So I'll change this. Let's analyze USDCHF. So ideally, a good trader is one who goes to higher time frames, because you want to understand where the market is. Are we bearish? Are we bullish? Right? So one area that I would want to see USDCHF come to is this one, 78.28. Why? That area is what you call the yearly low. It's the lowest price of the year, and it was set up, I think, in September. So if we use the crosshair, yes, this was set up in September. So I would want to see price come down to test this area. So with that now understanding, then we can now map out other areas like this one as a possible area with buyers. And then we could also map out something on my left. I can see an order block on H4. This is what you call a this is what you call a bullish order block, which is the last bearish candle before a move up that led to breakout structure. So initially there's another one here that was tested. You can see this is what happened this week on Monday. This order block was tested and there was a bullish move of around, how much? As of yesterday, 50 pips, right? So I would want to see price come down to test this low. Then another area where this could be a take profit area is yesterday's low. Sorry, the weekly low. What's the weekly low? It's the lowest price of the week. So this low was set up on Monday. So this is an area with potential buyers. So let's now look at our outlooks. So if I were to look for opportunities on USD CHF, I would want to see price test this area. That right there is what you call the Asian high, the highest price today from midnight till 8 a.m. Sorry, 9 a.m. Yeah. So this is an area with possible sellers. So if USDCHF was to test that area, then I would now be looking for sell opportunities. That one, a bullish move. And then from there, I'll probably now look for a drop, that 5 pips. Then there's also the other drop to the order block of 65 pips. So that will be my outlook on USD CHF. A bullish move, a retracement, right, or a pullback, and then a downward push. So price can even hit this moving average, could act as resistance. That's a difference of 2 pips, that 80.31, 80.33. So what you really need to look at is what confirmation candles, that when price gets here, what you want to see is one, the RSI will give us the 70, gives us the 70 region. And then from there, we need to look at bearish engulfing, evening star, shooting star, bearish tweezers. If those candlestick patterns present themselves here, then that will give me a case to enter sell. The other one is GBPUSD. So this was the analysis we did yesterday in the mentorship class. We were looking for a bullish move. Initially we were looking for a sell move to this area, this candle first, 31.90. The other one was 31.74. Yeah. So price didn't hit the 31.74 as anticipated, but then now we can see that bullish move, which is in line with the outlook, which was a buy. So let's analyze GBPUSD. I'm still bullish. I will still want to see GBPUSD come to that moving average on H4. So over here, we could encounter some bit of resistance, as we have seen this resistance trying to play out. So I would also consider another exit here, order block. This is what you call a bearish order block, which is the last bullish candle before a move down that broke structure, right? Which structure was broken here? A lower low. So this lower low was broken by this candle. So the market formed another lower low and another lower low. So the last bullish candle to cause that 33.19, that could be an exit area. So with that, let's look at now possible entries now that we are looking for long opportunities. So if the market was to come down and test these lows, so this is an area I would want to see GBPUSD come to, the Asian low, just like we've seen on USDCHF, a test of the Asian high, right? So if you're struggling to understand some of these terms, make sure that you join our mentorship class, right? And that's why we get to look at all this. So that's a possible area where we would want to see GBPUSD come to, test that area before going long. And one other exit area will be the weekly high. The weekly high is the highest price of the week, which was set up on Monday. So this is also a possible exit area. So what I would want to see on GBP USD will be a drop, and then a bullish move. Give me 80 pips. So that will be my outlook on GBP USD. A drop to 31.95 and then a bullish move to 32.75. There is that one area. Then there's also, there's interesting, there's also a moving average there that could act as a possible support. If price was to drop here, I would now want to see another exit at 32.95. That is 103 pips. There's also another area here, the order block, as a possible exit. That is 128 pips. So those are the three areas that I would be looking as possible take profit targets. Once again, kindly remember this is purely educational analysis. And so we are just mapping out areas where there are possible buyers, sellers, in this case, buyers, sorry, and then wait for price to get there, look at your confirmations, and if they all line up, then that becomes a solid trade. So let's see how GBPUSD reacts to some of those levels. It could also be held here. There's something I've realized. There's also an order block here. So 32.18, sorry, 32.11 is also an area where GBPUSD could be held on this trade. So either here or here. Okay, let's look at gold. What were we looking at? This was an analysis we did with the mentorship class. The first outlook was a sell, and we had anticipated that once price gets here, there will be a bullish move, and that played out. So this trade gave us a cool, how many pips from the drop from analysis? Gave us 324 pips. Then from there, gave us another 472 pips, right? So I had, my analysis was that gold will continue going up, but later during the New York session, price came down. It missed my entry. This was the next entry based on this projection. We were looking for buyers here, missed that, and there was a bullish move. So what do you want to see gold do? Go to higher time frames. So if gold was to come to this moving average, because I can see it will seem that price came to the moving average. So yeah, I would probably work with yesterday's low, actually. So if gold was to give us yesterday's low, then I would now probably look for buy moves. My first target will be the Asian high, this one. The other one will be yesterday's high. So I'll probably now look for that 650 pips move. Okay, let's look at UT100. This is analysis I did last week. So I was initially looking for a bearish move to this area and then a bullish move to this area. Well, price didn't hit our support area, but then the bullish move played out. So with that, let's exit this one and look at UT100. Remember that UT100 move yesterday is what we've just seen on the chart, right? The stocks performed pretty well. Yeah. Microsoft closed positive, Amazon closed positive. Yeah. So I would map that as a possible resistance. That's another block that could be tested. But before we go there, we'll want to see a bearish move. So if I go to H4, yeah. So if UT100 was to come down and test that moving average, then maybe I would now look for that move. That was DJ analysis. We're looking for buys to that high. Euro USD. Euro USD, we had mapped out two areas. It's actually three areas. We had one support area on H4. We also had another area on H4 and another one from M15. So these were the three areas we had anticipated USD, sorry, Euro USD will come to test before continuing with the bullish move, right? So we can see clearly price came to one of the areas and then there was a bullish move, right? So what are we expecting? We can see our target is yet to be hit, right? So one of the areas was on the daily chart. Let's see what was on the daily. Yeah, there's a candle over here, which is now the reason as to why we are seeing that bearish move. There's this order block that was initially tested, but it has been tested again, and price seems to be dropping. So let's do this again. So go to higher time frames. If you go to higher time frames, one, map out, in this case, last month's high. That's last month's high. There are some sellers there, so that could act as an exit. So let's see from the weekly. From the weekly, 1706, 1703. That area would act as a possible also exit area. So just call it 1700 quarter point, 00. So let's look at the daily chart. So now that we've mapped out a possible exit areas, let's go to lower time frames. Let's see what the market is doing. So if price comes down to test this area, 1617, interesting, because now this becomes the Asian low. There's also a moving average. So this area seems to be very strong, right? This looks to be a very strong buy area on Euro USD. So having seen that, I'll now probably be looking for that bearish move. And then from there, we get a better entry to 1656. Then from 1656, we've also seen another possible area. That's 83 pips to 1700. We have AUD-USD. This is the move that happened. GDP, the GDP that came out negative, right? 0.4 against the expected 0.7. So the Australian dollar weakened. But then, since the trend has been long, and this is what I was saying, swing traders are not scared of such moves. This was how many pips move? A 22 pips move. So you see, once again, most day traders will have been wiped out, right? Because most day traders will be using a 20 pip stop loss, 30 pip stop loss. So you really need to be cautious, right? This is why we take time to analyze the calendar with you so that you are aware of such moves, right? So let's go to the daily chart. Now, looking at the daily, I would still want to see AUD-USD come to this high, because we can see a certain pattern here that every time, this was 2025 September, when AUD-USD came to the 800 EMA, it was resisted. By the way, if you don't know this strategy, don't miss it out. I'll be training it today, tonight, from 8 to 9 p.m. Just send me an email to robert.mbogo@fxpesa.com, request for the link, right? However, below this video, you'll find the link. Learn how to trade. Just go to that evening class and register, and I'll see you at 8. So that is a possible area where we have sellers, and that could be an exit on AUD-USD. So let me look for buy areas, maybe this one. That one could act as a support area, or this one. 65.62. I'll probably go with 65.62. 65.62 could act as a buy area, or 65.72. either one of these two areas could act as support. So if when price gets here, we can see that 46 pips move. Okay, let's do USD CAD and wrap up the session. So always go to higher time frames to have a clear understanding of where price is going. So clearly on this one, we're looking for sell opportunities. That will be my first exit, 39.12. There's also another one here. This is an order block, 38.28. So let's go to the daily. So on the daily, we can see those prices, H4. Last month's low. Has it been tested? This one. Yeah. So looking at USD CAD, we are still looking for those sell opportunities. That will be my outlook on USD CAD. That's it. Let me see your questions. Kindly analyze, hello, hey everyone. Kindly analyze Euro USD, Audi USD, done. Already done. NZDUSD, USD JPY. So the link is at the bottom. Just go to learn how to trade. Okay, learn how to trade. And the moment you click there, go to sign up for the evening session, the 8 p.m. session. So I can do this. So just go to that link and you'll be sorted. So there's a request for NZDUSD, USD Okay, let me wrap up with those two analyses. Okay, so your NZDUSD, then USDJPY. Okay, so if you go to higher time frames, clearly, let's go to the weekly. Let's go to the monthly. Okay, so if you go to the weekly, identify areas with potential sellers resistance. I can see an order block there, 57.70 on the weekly. What about on the daily? Let's see, has this order block been tested? Okay, 58.03. 58.03 is an area. This is an area where you will find sellers, right? So that could be an exit. Then H4. So if price was to test this low, that order block 57.30, then it will give a bullish move. So a drop to this area, and then from there we could see a possible bullish move 40 pips and another move to 73 pips. That will be my outlook on NZD USD. Let's look at USD JPY. How to identify Asian high low. Please attend the the advanced class, but ideally, let me show you. First, you need to define what is the Asian high. The Asian high is the highest price during Asian session. So in our case, the Asian session is from midnight to 9 a.m. So this becomes today's Asian high. So here they are potential sellers. The Asian low, it's the lowest price during Asian session, right? From midnight till 9 a.m. So if we look at the 9 a.m. candle, which one is the 9 a.m. candle? This one, right? 9 a.m. So this becomes the Asian low. Asian high, Asian low. So these are areas with potential buyers, sellers, respectively. So if I were to look for opportunities on USD JPY, I'll probably be looking for a bullish move to this area and potentially yesterday's high, the previous day high. So that's a possible area where you'll encounter some resistance. That's it. I think we are done. Yeah, so we've just covered USDCHF. Just a recap. USDCHF, we say that I would want to see USDCHF test this area before selling, right? A bullish move and then a bearish move to that low and that other low. GBPUSD, a potential sell to this area or this area and then a bullish move. Gold, a potential drop and then a bullish move. UT100, a potential drop and then a bullish move. Euro USD, potential drop and then a bullish move. AUD USD, a potential drop and then a bullish move. USD CAD, drop. NZDUSD, a potential drop and then a bullish move to this area and this other area. Then USD JPY, potential bullish move. That's it. Thank you guys for your time. Make sure that you practice risk management in everything that you do. All right, that's the only thing that will keep you in the business. Okay. Otherwise, bye bye. Have a bullish day and week.